Okay, good evening. Welcome to the Falls Township Board of Supervisors meeting for August 18th, 2015. We'll begin with the salute to the flag, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Pullen?
Mr. Galloway?
Here.
Mr. Bransky?
Here.
Mr. Harvey?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Rocco?
Here.
Okay, before we begin, I just want to make people aware. I don't know, there might be some people in the room looking for this item. Items 4 and 5 on our agenda, we're actually going to be tabling this evening. Those are both items dealing with the potential redevelopment of the old Acme supermarket. There was supposed to be a conditional use hearing this evening, as well as a preliminary hearing for land development. There actually was a mistake made by the township. The conditional use was not advertised as it was supposed to be. So we contacted the developer earlier today and let them know that we're going to be taking this off the agenda for tonight, and it'll go on an agenda item in the future. So at this point, I'll ask for a motion to table items 4 and 5.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. So apologize for any confusion. All right, we're going to begin with a presentation.
Mr. Harvey, very briefly,
I'm sorry.
Just to report that prior to the meeting, the board held an executive session to discuss a personnel matter and a matter of potential litigation.
Okay, thank you. We have a presentation this evening involving what we hope, I think we believe, is going to make our park a safer place for people. I see Ms. Fox is getting ready to make some kind of presentation, so I'll just skip Mr. Gray and just go right to Ms. Fox, our Assistant Park and Rec Director.
Thank you, Mr. Harvey. Safe Kids Bucks County is an organization led by St. Mary Medical Center Trauma Department, excuse me. It's one of 400 state and local coalitions who are a part of Safe Kids Worldwide. With the help of Safe Kids Bucks County, Falls Township was granted 2 new AED units and CPR, first aid, and AED training for community leaders and park staff. I have here one of those AED units. These AED units will be housed at the Falls Township Community Park, and there will also be another one at Quaker Penn Park. Those are 2 of our most widely utilized park locations. And at this time, I'd like to welcome Debbie Lamanna. She is the vice chairperson for Safe Kids Bucks County. And with the help of community leaders like Debbie, Safe Kids Bucks County is diligently working to fulfill the legacy of creating safe environments for the children of our community. It's with sincere gratitude that we thank you and the entire Safe Kids Bucks County organization for all of your hard work in keeping our community safe.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here representing Safe Kids and to congratulate Falls Township on receiving the AED grants. We're fortunate that St. Mary Medical Center does fund 6 AEDs to go to youth sports organizations throughout Bucks County. We are pleased that Falls Township's Parks and Recreation Department and youth sports organizations are proactive in making sure that their young athletes and those athletes' families are safe while they're in your parks. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have about Bucks County Safe Kids. We are a group of a varied group of members of the Bucks County Safe Kids Coalition. We include police departments, emergency squads, fire departments, parks and recreation departments, hospitals, healthcare providers, daycare centers, all people who care very much about preventing childhood injuries and death, and that is our focus. We do things like sponsor car seat checks so that free, so that people can make sure that their children are buckled in safely in their cars. We do bicycle safety and pool safety. We're also doing sports safety quite a bit with the AED program that's funded through St. Mary's. So congratulations.
Okay, thank you. And I want to pay particular thanks to Mr. Bransky. This was really something that he pushed for. AEDs, for people that may not be familiar, automatic external defibrillators. I think I got that right. But you see these periodically. There's actually one just behind the door here. But these are devices that are in a lot of different places. I know schools have them, a lot of public buildings have them, that if someone suffers, God forbid, a heart attack somewhere, you have one of these devices that's very, very easy to use, that can be utilized to hopefully keep that person's heart beating or restart it until emergency personnel can come. So having one at both of those two parks makes a tremendous amount of sense. So again, thank you to Mr. Boraski for spearheading that.
And I did see our fire marshal ran out, but we have boxes going in both locations at the park and Quaker Pen, so they will be readily available for case of emergency. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Gray.
Mr. Harvey,
Yeah.
Teresa would like to take a photo.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Of all of, oh, yeah, go ahead.
Smile nicely.
Okay. Thank you again, Ms. Fox and Ms. Lamanna, for being here and for obviously the devices which we hope we never have to use, but if God forbid there's a need, we have them. We're up to public comment. I see a couple names on the resident list and one name on the non-resident list. Guido Mariani?
Good evening. I want to touch about the Falls Township landfill expansion again. Among the concerns that I have about the expansion of that landfill is that after 30 years, I believe we've taken enough garbage into Falls Township, and how much longer we're going to be able to continue to do this and absorb this waste and at the same time protect our environment. I have a lot of questions about that. You answered quite a few of them at the last meeting. My further concern was that Waste Management has been fined millions of dollars until a system to handle LECAT was finished. One of the questions I didn't get answered was, has it been? And apparently not. The Department of Environmental Protection has assessed Waste Management $528,000 at its landfills in Falls and Tullytown. And the fine was for a number and persistent of the off-site odors and the storage of excessive amounts of LECAT, which was a big concern for me, for unacceptable durations throughout the period of January 2013 through May of 2015. It's almost a year and a half. They didn't treat that. Now, the storage violations resulted from Waste Management's inability to manage the LECAT by its approved LECAT treatment messages. So apparently, they never did get to it. They had to remove it in order to get back into compliance after 2.5 years. LECAT, for those who don't know what it is a liquid form of precipitation that has permeated through solid waste, and it has to be treated. It's highly toxic and can pollute land, groundwater, and waterways. The two main environmental problems that we have and that we face are the result, believe it or not, of landfills. The air pollution and the groundwater pollution, that's exactly what Waste Management was fined for, not only in our area, but others. There are over 10, these are my concerns, 10 toxic gases released from landfills, and the most serious one is methane. It's 21 times more potent than a greenhouse gas known as carbon dioxide. Studies have shown that the people who live close to these landfills suffer more from lung and heart disease from these toxic gases. The groundwater pollution that I'm concerned about comes from leachate. Now, whenever you get a new expansion of a landfill, and whenever one is proposed, advocates always emphasize that no hazardous waste is going to enter the landfill. Although the landfills may not receive hazardous waste, the leachate they produce is as dangerous as that from any hazardous waste landfill. And as the landfills expand, which is what we're going to do, the likelihood of leaks increases fivefold. That's the EPA. The problem with the leachate collection system is they clog after 10 years. We're here already over 30 years. And the major issue is a large number of toxins that do go into the ground, into the water, and invariably into our homes. The EPA will tell you they all leak. Now, the current landfills have proved to be a nuisance, which affected neighborhoods, which they did, an entire community in Jersey, which it did, in addition to being injurious to health. Now, with this history, why would we take a hazardous gamble, what I consider a hazardous gamble, and expand beyond our current landfill that could lead to failures, which it probably will and has, and will create health, safety, and environmental problems? Further, the landfill expansion proposal has never provided evidence and facts to back up a case for its expansion other than what I believe is the pursuit of host fees, whether it's our township or other townships. So people that are at home, you look at your children, look at your family, including you folks, my friends, then you tell me what is the acceptable host fee income that you would allow, or that would allow you to take a landfill expansion gamble. I don't want it, and I really do not see a need for its expansion. If you have a question, I'd be glad to answer it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, there was one other name on the resident sign-in sheet, but I noticed that, oh, there you're, Madeline. Mrs. Jones, sorry, I didn't see you come back in.
Rob's telling me just left. He read the order.
Good evening. Thanks for recognizing me. I did leave my job early this evening, 45 minutes early, to be here for agenda items 4 and 5, and I just found out about them yesterday. So everyone is still concerned. A lot of folks that perhaps somehow Wawa is still hidden underneath, and we'd like to have everyone up front with that. And talk about the landfill, the trucks, tractor trailers, dump trucks. And in fact, this morning a tractor trailer ran the stop sign from Tyburn Road onto 13 North, and I was not very happy because he was doing 65 miles an hour without exaggeration. So there's not only the trash trucks, the trash haulers, there's other vehicles and residential vehicles that are running stop signs to get on 13, even if they're coming off Route 1. It's got to stop. It's really got to stop. And I don't know how, what the proposals are or have been presented to the board, the township, the police department to do something about the speeding in the township and the running of red lights and stop signs. I know we have a lot of visitor traffic, through 13, Route 1, the bypass, and our little roads. And yes, I agree, a lot of it's our own residents. But, now if we're going to be having trash brought upriver, there again, what are the rules and regulations for the barges on that area? The other thing, and I owe Peter Gray and Rose a lot of thanks for their patience, because the government access channel, I think 2 or 3 months, is not. And Peter just explained to me, why and, what's going to be done, what's being done about it. Then I also got talking to someone this evening. They say online, sometimes it will say, on the computer, not available for the township meeting. And I'm sorry, to hear someone tell me, or others time and time again, that, well, this is the age of computers, of technology. I'm sorry. If we're a down-to-earth township and care about our residents, 100% of the residents, we make sure that every single resident has access to the board supervisors, and again, the committees, when their dates and times should be back on the screen. And then also Park Recreation, not just pick up the phone, oh, please go to our website. Please, and I appreciate your patience, but truly, truly, if we really care about every single one of us, then let's get back to basics. All right, thank you. Enjoy the rest of the summer.
Thank you. Yeah, we've had a lot of technical problems with the cable channel, which Ms. Jones was talking about. There was problems on our end, machinery, equipment that just broke down, and computers don't always make things easier. Sometimes they're more difficult. The way we record meetings has changed. It's not as simple as just putting it on a VCR tape and then just hitting play and then it plays out. It's much more complicated than that now. So if something does go down, it actually is harder to put it back up again. And then the problem we've been having more recently is that since we did get a new machine that actually does put the meetings out, there's a problem now with the machinery we have in our building here from Comcast. And so I know that I can get the video because I have Comcast. I can get the video of the meeting, but there's no audio. People that have Verizon that I've talked to, they haven't had a problem. We do have somebody from Comcast coming out tomorrow. They're supposed to replace all that equipment. And so hopefully, the meetings are up again. But apologize for the technical difficulties we've been having. What we've been trying to do is trying to, working within a budget, and with technology nowadays, sometimes it pays to not work within the budget as much as to kind of get the newest thing you can get and hope that it works well. And I said, hopefully the problem is fixed tomorrow, and we can have everybody have access to it. There's a newsletter as well that's going to be going out. We did newsletters pretty regularly, and in the past couple of years we had difficulty finding companies that would do a newsletter for us, and so we didn't do one. And now we are essentially doing it ourselves. So we had one go out in the spring. We have another one that's going to be coming out in the fall that'll have a lot of information in it, because I know people rely on that for information, contact information here in the building, programs, activities, just information about everything from the fire marshal's office, police department, et cetera. So that'll be coming out in the fall. Okay. We have one. I'm sorry. Right, we have still open for public comment here. Go ahead, Mr. Kinney.
I've been away for 4 or 5 months, but Comcast will have it up tomorrow. You'll probably see it Thursday at the latest. The last 2 years I've been asked for IET. I've been shut down every time. Now our school board wants more money. $77,000 ain't much for a teacher today, so they want more money. They're here 9 years. I understand they get 100 and some thousand. Now the seniors, this program, the seniors count on this. Most of them are shut in. A lot of them are shut in. They don't know what's going on in the township except for this meeting. That's why I want it up. And I get hit every morning, every afternoon when I go to lunch or breakfast. And I'm in a different township when I eat over in Bristol. And they keep on asking me, when's this show going to come on? They want to see it. They miss it. It's the only time they can find out anything going on. And they want to know what's happening with the IET. I said, I got 3 men on the board. They don't want it. Seniors don't pay.
Yeah, 5.
I think you have 5 on the board.
5 on the board that don't want it.
I know that. I'm not counting him because he ain't going to be on the board.
Oh, all right.
Putting him upstairs.
Going somewhere? Okay, all right.
And he's new. I don't want to pick
So-
him.
One is 4.
And him.
He said, I'm new, he's not going to pick on me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's new, I ain't picking you three.
You're still in the honeymoon period, I guess. All right.
But we need that. This, if we had that for the last 2 years, somebody's other entity of the township school board raised their taxes 2 years in a row. Every time they need money, they come after us. If we had that EIT, probably the $4 million we get, throw them a couple, $2 million. They leave us alone for a couple of years. But the people, the aging needs it. They want it. They earned it. They should get it. I won't say no more. Good night. God bless you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any other residents wish to speak? All right, non-resident list. Nina Chernowski. I'm hoping I did that right. Close enough? Okay.
I'm here to bring attention of what I feel was a great job done by the Falls Township Police in running the Youth Police Academy. My son Dominic was a cadet, and what he gained from this experience will stay with him forever. As a young teenager thinking about a career in law enforcement, this academy has made him aware of situations that he never thought of. It was a great learning experience. I want to personally thank Officer Yeager, Officer Caesar, Officer Fisher, Officer Callahan, Lieutenant Whitney, and Corporal Wolverton for what they have accomplished in making this a remarkable program. I hope that this academy continues so that more children can benefit from this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, it really was. I know I got a chance to stop by to a class and saw that was there at the graduation. It really was a fantastic program that was run. I think it would be difficult for people who are witnessing it to believe that it had never been done before, that this was the first time it had been done. It ran that smoothly. It was that well done that it certainly didn't look like the first time we had done it. But it's always great to hear, from a parent, and I know you're speaking for your son as well. So thank you for coming out, and obviously we'll convey your thanks to them. I'm sure you probably already said thanks to them personally, but thank you again. Any other non-residents? Okay. All right, we're going to move on to our next agenda item number 2, Certificate of Appropriateness for 21 Yardley Avenue. Mr. Gray?
Yes, as mentioned, this is for 21 Yardley Avenue. The applicant is requesting to re-side the residence with hardy plank siding and paint the front door and trim. This has been reviewed and approved by the HARB board. The applicant's name is Matthew Pendle. Board is asked to consider the certificate at this time.
Okay. I think Mr. Pendle is here. Okay. So if the board had any questions or comments for him, it seems like a pretty straightforward thing. I don't know if...
No, I have no question.
No question.
Okay. Is there a motion then to approve the Certificate of Appropriateness for 21 Yardley Avenue?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Thank you. Okay, next, item number 3, ISC Sales Master Corporation, waiver of land development. This is 87 Towpath Road. Mr. Gray.
Yes, the applicant is proposing to construct a 5,083 square foot addition to an existing industrial building. The size of the property is 2.87 acres and is served by public water and sewer. Representing the applicant tonight is Mr. Larry Young from Tri-State.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm here with Tim Northrup from ISC Sales Master. We're here tonight asking for a waiver of land development due to just the small size of the project. We're planning on adding just over a 5,000 square foot addition to a warehouse building, and the property is located at 87 Towpath Road. It's contained on a property that's 2.87 acres. The current use is warehousing. It's serviced by Topher Water and Morrisville Sewer. and sewer treatment. The current building, which is the lighter brown, is approximately 27,000 square feet. It has 33 vehicle parking out front, and there's some loading out front and on the side of the building. In 2004, there was a 9,000 square foot addition that's shown in the lighter brown with the hatching over top of it. That was approved back in 2004. Fortunately, business is good. They need basically more storage area. They are not increasing the amount of employees, no building bathroom fixtures or anything like that. There is currently two existing stormwater systems on site. On the west side, there's an above-ground basin, and on the east side, there's a infiltration trench underneath the partially underneath the parking lot and along the eastern property line. With the 5,000 square foot addition, we plan on expanding the existing underground infiltration facility to accommodate the additional flow from the building addition. As I said, parking is not a problem because we're not increasing the number of employees, and that's how the calculations are. We're under on maximum impervious coverage, building coverage. We meet all zoning issues, and we were issued a draft resolution and several comment letters from the fire marshal, the Shade Tree Commission, the traffic engineer, and the township engineer, and all of those comments will complies. They were very minor in nature.
Okay.
I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any comments or questions for Mr. Young or for Mr. Sullivan? Mr. Galloway?
No questions.
Mr. Boraski?
No question.
Mr. Dents?
No.
Mr. Rocco?
Yeah, I was just wondering what do you guys do?
What's stored there?
Packaging supplies for distributive packaging supplies.
Okay.
Okay.
3M products.
Oh, got it. Okay.
All right. Distributor of packing supplies, just because we're speaking in the microphone, so I'm going to make sure it gets on the record, that's all. People at home, when the program eventually goes back online, people won't be able to hear.
Right.
So,
Yeah. No, that's all I had. Thank you. It seems straightforward.
yeah, it's been driven. Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward plan. Mr. Sullivan, any concerns?
No concern. There is one waiver that you're approving with the adoption of this resolution for
Right.
features within 200 feet, which is a fairly standard waiver.
Right. Okay. All right. Any public comment or question? Okay, see none. Mr. Gray, this will be resolution
-18.
-18. Okay. And Mr. Young has said all the review letters are will complies. So is there a motion then to approve the waiver of land development resolution 2015-18?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, gentlemen. Good luck.
Have a night.
All right, we're tabled rather items 4 and 5. Item 6, consider resolution for Abington Reldon Metals LLC sewage facilities planning module. Mr. Gray?
Yes, the board is asked to consider this resolution tonight. This is required to determine adequate capacity based on the information provided by the applicant. For any new connection to an existing sanitary system, DEP approval is required. This also identifies collection, conveyance, and treatment capacity within the KIPC treatment facility. At this time, the board is asked to consider this resolution for Abington Reldon.
Okay. This will be resolution 15-19.
19.
Yeah. All right, comments or questions for Mr. Sullivan regarding this resolution? Mr. Galloway?
No.
Mr. Boraski?
No.
Mr. Dents?
No.
Mr. Rocco?
No.
Okay, any public comment needed? See no hands. All right, is there a motion then to approve resolution
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. All right, item 7 is consider authorizing notice of intent to award the bid for the 2015 Falls Township Road Improvement Program. Mr. Gray?
Yes, the board received, the township received a letter from Mr. Sullivan from T&M dated August 14th. T&M has reviewed the bid submitted to Falls Township and publicly opened on August 14th for this project. One bid was received from General Asphalt Paving Company, Inc., with a base bid of $258,679.65, and alternate number 1 for $77,001.75. Based on the bid evaluation, General Asphalt Paving Company is the lowest responsive bidder for both the base bid and alternate 1 of the road improvement project. It is recommended that the Board of Supervisors authorize the Township Engineer's Office to issue a notice of intent to award to General Asphalt Paving Company, Inc. for the total bid cost of $335,681.40 for the base bid plus alternate number 1. The board is asked to consider this at this time.
All right, Mr. Sullivan, want to go any detail in terms of the project?
Certainly. The base bid is for the mill and overlay of several streets in the township. This is a little bit over the budget that was first established back in November of last year. We plan on, instead of milling the entire surface of the road, to actually mill along the curb lines and then put what's called, we call it paper, but it's a stabilizing fabric that goes on the streets, and then the entire street is overlaid. So we're actually increasing the crown in the center of the street by about 1.5 inches, making the cross slope a little bit steeper, but it's not something you notice on driving on it. Alternate number 1 is stream bank stabilization. It's in a very difficult location to get to. Bid came out a little bit higher than we had hoped. It's tough to get to. You have to go through private property to get to it, and you can't bring all the material in at once. You have to bring in basically 1 block at a time, which is why that was a little bit more than we anticipated. But we're fairly certain this contractor will be responsive and do the work properly.
Okay. Comments or questions for Mr. Sullivan? Mr. Galloway?
No questions.
Mr. Boraski?
No questions.
Mr. Dents?
We're ready to bid on the 2015 road program, and we're still not done the 2011 program, are we?
2011?
Aren't we still getting updates on the 2011 road
Yes.
program?
Yeah,
And the
that is correct.
2012, is 13's not done, 14's not done.
That is correct. Well, there's no 14.
Well, last year's road.
Last year's 13.
13.
Sorry.
This is just mill and overlay, though, so this is.
This is really just mill and overlay, and we've added some base repair if necessary and some curbing repair because there are some spots out there where the curb's not looking too good.
So this does include the curb repairs that you and I discussed?
Yes, it does.
Some of them are really bad.
Yes.
And you'll be
Yes, they
lifting
are.
up the storm drains and stuff?
Yes, where necessary, yes.
Is that included in this bid?
Yes,
All of it?
all of it.
Okay. That's all I have.
Mr. Rocco?
What was the budget amount for this?
$165,376.
So a little bit over budget is like double?
Well, the figure that Mr. Gray quoted is for the mill and overlay. We didn't actually have a budget for the alternate 1 stream bank stabilization.
That was only $77,000.
So you're looking at 258 versus 165. It's not quite double.
So where are we going to get the money, Mr. Gray?
The township has funding it could utilize from the host community fees fund.
We've actually had, that was a first question I asked, we've actually had a much better year from Waste Management than we expected. So,
The stream bank stabilization, that's behind the houses on Laura?
Floral?
Floral, I'm
Yes.
sorry, on Floral.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a problem that JDM created.
it's a problem that has existed but is exacerbated by the addition of that end
Problem
wall.
that became a problem because of the road program last year. So that really needs to be done. Whether we go out to bid on separately on that, do you think that would help? If we bid just?
I don't think it would help. It was the contractor, the road contractor didn't want to bid on alternate number 1. And I told him he had to, and he tried to find several companies that would bid, and he only found 1.
When would that take place, that work?
Same time,
Which would be when?
after the 30-day responsible contractor review period is
So
up.
they plan on doing it this year?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
with this bid and also the bid for the New Falls Road sidewalk, we're seeing, for a while, Mr. Sullivan, you were right on the money. You were like Vegas in terms of predicting where people were going to come in with bids, but you've been off your game a little bit.
That streak is over.
That's true, right.
It wasn't the road program.
Yeah. But is this something that's a factor with the economy that we're seeing bids that are much higher, or is it something, I know Mr. Clark and you work in other municipalities, are you seeing it there as well?
We're seeing that there's a lot of private work available, and contractors would go to that first before they would go to municipal work. We did have 2 plan holders, but only 1 chose to bid. We had the same problem in the other municipality that I work in, and Mr. Clark has had in several of his.
We're seeing this problem in multiple municipalities now, and it is based on what Mr. Sullivan is saying. There is a significant amount of private work out there, and the developers, or the contractors are going to the private work first. So those who are bidding on the municipal jobs are doing it at a discount. As you may remember, the prices we were getting in 09 and 10 and 11, that's when the contractors were very hungry and they wanted to keep their people employed and keep their people working. They're not as hungry anymore, so their prices are higher.
Okay. Yeah, it's something we knew would happen. I know we accelerated some of the road work we were doing back in 07, 08, 09 because we knew that we were going to get good prices because people were hungry for the work. But the economy improving in sort of a strange way has actually is costing us a little bit more. Okay. Any other comments or questions?
No.
No. Is there any public comment needed? Seeing none. All right. So the recommendation of the engineer is to award the bid to General Asphalt base and alternate number 1 in the amount of $335,681.40. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mrs. Pullen?
Mr. Galloway?
Yes.
Mr. Boraski?
Yes.
Mr. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Dents?
Yes.
Mr. Rocco?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Next item on the agenda is consider adopting ordinance amendment Chapter 206 involving wreckers. This was advertised last month. Essentially what this does, where we have situations where we have to have hearings for any of the wreckers that are used by the township, if there's some kind of violation of our ordinance involving wreckers in the past, it was the township that picked up the legal fees for our own attorneys. Now, what this is doing is saying if we have to have a hearing because of something one of the wreckers has done, the wreckers also will pay the legal fees in addition to any fines. This is something that's been advertised. Seeing if I missed anything else. I think I got it all right, Ms. Gallagher? That's pretty much.
Yes, it also removes some extraneous language from back when we first did the ordinance update. That initial year, we'd extended the deadline for applications, but because we're past that initial year, it takes out that language.
Okay. Comments or questions, board members? Mr. Galloway?
None.
Mr. Boraski?
No.
Mr. Dents?
No.
Mr. Rocco?
No.
Okay. Any public comment needed? See one hand. Is there a motion to open public comment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Wilson. I'm calling from Rob's Automotive. I'm from Rob's Automotive and Collision. Just one question. That's why I'm here. What if allegations are brought up and the tower is found to be not guilty? Are we still responsible for legal fees?
No.
No.
Okay, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. All right. Any motion? Is there a motion to close public comment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. So this will be ordinance 15-5.
05.
Is there a motion to approve ordinance 15-5?
Yes, I'll make the motion to approve ordinance 15-05.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, and number 9 is another ordinance. This will be 1506. Establishing basically an intergovernmental agreement regarding our unemployment compensation that we're involved in through PSATs, which is the Pennsylvania State Association of Township Supervisors. Mr. Gray?
Falls Township is a member of the PSAT's Unemployment Compensation Group Trust. The UC Trust exists as a intergovernmental cooperative agreement of municipalities to provide townships the ability to pool resources and leverage buying power to obtain more affordable unemployment compensation for its members. One of the changes that was made was that municipalities must adopt an ordinance whenever they enter an intergovernmental cooperative agreement. This provision was added to comply with the requirements of the Pennsylvania Intergovernmental Cooperative Act. The ICA specifically requires an ordinance be adopted whenever a municipality enters into a intergovernmental cooperation agreement with other municipalities. This was brought before the board for authorization advertised at the July meeting. This has been properly advertised. Also, the township has been with PSAT since 1991. The board is asked to consider adopting this ordinance.
Okay, comments or questions? No. Okay. And nobody really understands it, so. I imagine there's no public comment. All right. Is there a motion to approve ordinance 1506?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, minutes for July 21st, 2015. Comments or corrections from board members?
Excellent minutes as always, Mrs. Poole.
Okay, I have nothing, no?
No, I have none.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented for July 21st, 2015?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, engineers report. Mr. Sullivan, it's you.
Thank you, Mr. Harvey. Not a whole lot to report on progress this month. As Mr. Dents pointed out, the 2013 road program is still, while substantially complete, not 100% complete. Contractor has said he's coming back after Labor Day so he can do the grass work and the other minor issues that are left at that time. At the boat ramp, I think I reported last month, they were thinking about doing dredging and pile replacement. We're starting to think maybe we'll hold off on the pile replacement until next year, early in March, when we still have a chance to get in the water. Since we've lost piles in the last 2 winters, thought maybe that might be a good idea. If we do that, we'll do the dredging at the same time.
Okay.
Other than that, any questions? Happy to answer.
Yeah, I guess I used the boat ramp a few weeks ago, and it functions pretty well, just with the partial dock off to the right.
Right, there's one pile missing on the right side.
Yeah, so it really functioned pretty well, and it was a Sunday, and it was like rush hour down there. There's a lot of boats going in and out, and jet skis and everything else. I was putting kayaks in, so it was Grand Central Station down there, and it didn't really seem to faze anybody that was still missing some of the pier over there. So, okay. I guess that makes sense. Other questions for Mr. Sullivan?
No questions.
I have none.
No.
Okay.
Wait, I do have one. All the driveways have been repaired from last year's road program?
No.
Still no.
Still no.
You said they were just coming back to fix the grass, but there's still driveways.
The grass and the other nagging issues, which happen to be a couple of driveways on Bernard and some other places.
Nagging issues. So that's not happening until after Labor Day.
That's correct.
That's all.
Okay. All right, is there a motion to accept the engineer's report dated August 14th, 2015?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. All right, bill list. Bills for this month, $1,523,536.95. Of that 1.5 million, about 1.1 million, almost 1.2 million of the 1.5 is salary and insurance, health insurance. In addition, there's about $43,000 in highway aid fund, which is state aid, and $43,000, which is actually escrow money, which is put up by developers when they start projects. So, and then $23,000 for what's called the crime prevention fund, which is another state funding source. And I think it was about $12,000 in vehicle fuel. Yeah, $12,187. So that's the sort of a brief summary of the bill list. So comments or questions for Mr. Gray regarding the bills?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right, is there a motion to pay the bills, $1,523,536.95?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mrs. Pullen?
Mr. Galloway?
Yes.
Mr. Brasky?
Yes.
Mr. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Dents?
Yes.
Mr. Rocco?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we had an executive session earlier. Manager comment?
Yes, just a few items tonight, Mr. Chairman. The township received a request for an extension from Tom Hecker dated August 11th for the Buckingham Retail Rite Aid project. This project is requested for an extension until September 30th, 2015. The board is asked to consider this extension.
Only for a month?
Yes.
Okay. All right, comments or questions?
No.
Nope.
Is there a motion to approve the letter of extension to September 30th, 2015?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Township has received a request from Tom Hecker dated August 11th, also for an extension on the Buckingham Retail Wawa project, also until September 30th, 2015. The board is asked to consider this extension.
Are they two different projects?
Why are we extending the Wawa project? I thought the Wawa project was under appeal or something.
It is still under appeal, and they haven't withdrawn their application. So they just keep asking for a letter of extension. It's strictly a formality.
Even though it's been denied.
Even though it's been denied, even though it's being appealed right now.
And even though there's plans for a completely different project.
And even though there are plans for a completely different project. The applicant under the municipality's planning code is allowed to do this, and that's what they're doing. But it's just strictly a formality.
What if we say no?
Yeah.
Then, if we have any time left, we would need to bring him back during that period of time and allow them to have a hearing in front of the board
For what?
on the application.
That was denied.
That was denied.
I think it's a conditional use.
We do this here in this township. Many municipalities do it. They don't. Very often, they submit land development plans before they have zoning approval. Technically, they're not able to come to you seeking land development until they have all of their zoning approval. Since this was filed a little bit out of order, until the appeal of the zoning hearing board is decided, they can't come before you, because if they came before you, the first question is, well, do you have zoning approval? And they don't, so they don't qualify for approval for land development. This is a way of doing it on behalf of an applicant to make sure that there are no changes to your ordinances or no changes to your subdivision and land development ordinance that would potentially impact them, so they want to be able to get their application in.
But we were gonna, go ahead.
Do we know the deadline for this project?
I believe it's the end of this month.
Certainly before September 1st.
If
The
it
next
wasn't
meeting
for a
would happen.
mistake that we made, we would have been approving something else tonight on that same location. So what would happen had we approved the Rite Aid and restaurants tonight?
Then he would have approved plans for a Rite Aid and a restaurant, but that does not preclude a property owner from ever seeking approval on a different project or a different plan. There can be a property that can have multiple approvals. As long as you keep giving approvals, or as long as they are receiving approvals, they can seek approval on multiple different projects, multiple plans.
At the same time for the same property.
At the same time for the same property. I don't think it smells fishy. I think it is a matter of the fact that the applicant, if they win zoning, they may want to come back and try to convince you to approve a Wawa. If they don't approve the zoning, then they can't, because then they're not eligible at that point in time to have that plan approved, because they don't have the proper zoning relief.
So the appeal's in county court.
Correct.
Right, so if the county court rules in favor of the developer, then he could come back and ask to do the Wawa.
Correct. Unless one of the parties, which I believe there are several parties to this matter, including the township, were to appeal it to the Pennsylvania Commonwealth Court. And then it would probably act as a stay to prevent them from being able to go forward with developing the property in that manner. As you may be aware, Mr. Harvey, as we have discussed, we are looking at changing part of our land development process to have a waiver of these deadlines. It wouldn't create it wouldn't eliminate the confusion that all of you are expressing right now about why we are continuing a project that doesn't have zoning relief. But it is a way of sort of simplifying this process of continuing, or continually, I should say, granting extensions on these, or allowing extensions on these plans. If we were not going to grant this extension, the applicant would have to have an opportunity to be heard. So what I would suggest is that if you don't want to keep granting this one, that you would grant it this evening and then put it on an agenda for one of the September meetings. And then the applicant has to make a choice at that point, either to withdraw the application, which they would really have no other choice, or to move forward, but they can't get approval from you because they don't meet the threshold issue of having zoning relief. But what I would not recommend is denying this now and not giving the applicant an opportunity to be heard.
Will they be on the next agenda for the project that we couldn't see here tonight?
We have to re-advertise it. It'll be either on the agenda for the 1st or for the 15th in September.
15th?
Or we'll get or we can get another letter for an extension.
No, we're talking about the Rite Aid.
Rite Aid to restaurants.
That'll be
Let's
on the
put
15th.
this on that agenda with whatever agenda that's on. Does that make sense, this and that?
Yep. And I would assume you want to put after the Rite Aid approval.
Right. Okay. So it'd be a condition, so it'd be the 15th because we
Yep.
need that much time to advertise.
And, yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well. Well, it says, obviously, it's their property. They can kind of do what they want. The problem is that he doesn't want to necessarily, get rid of the Wawa project if, next week there's a court case and the court rules in his favor, and he could.
Not that they may
The
bill
court.
if they win.
If the court rules in their favor, they could, unless we
still have to
appeal it. Well, yeah, we still have to approve it, but they're appealing the zoning. That's what they're appealing, is the zoning, not us. They're appealing the zoning part of it. So he's keeping his options open, basically, is what it is. All right. Comments or questions, thoughts?
No.
I'll make a motion to extend it.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And so we'll look to put it on the agenda for the 15th? Is that what it is, of September?
Whichever agenda the Rite Aid is going to be on.
Be the 15th.
Okay. All right. All right, Mr. Gray.
Township also received a letter from Tom Hecker dated August 11th regarding new Seaview or Lubricycle located at 150 Solar Drive, requesting an extension of time on this project until September 30th, 2015.
So we're going to be busy in September.
See, we haven't heard about this project in a long time.
I suspect you'll get another extension letter on New Seaview before the September 5th meeting. This is a project that's been around for 2 or 3 years now.
Yeah.
There has not been, other than these quarterly extensions or monthly extensions, there has not been any activity on this project in
Then why
2
is it
years.
just a month extension? Why not ask for?
This is not unusual in municipalities that this happens. They just keep continuing these projects.
Seems like a waste of time.
Yeah, my time.
It is in some ways. It's one of the requirements of the MPC, the Municipalities Planning Code. What they don't want 5 elected officials like you to be able to do is just take a project, whether unpopular or not, and just stick it in a drawer. So there are time limits where you do have to act on these things, but it creates sort of this ridiculous result that we're dealing with now, where we just keep granting extension after extension after extension. And for all I know, each month, Mr. Hecker talks to someone from New Seaview, and they say, well, we might be ready next month, so only give us 30 days. And we know they're not going to be ready next month. I don't think Mr. Sullivan has seen new plans in...
They haven't been to the planning commission officially yet either, so.
Yeah.
So it's impossible for them to be ready in 30 days. So
Correct.
why don't you just grant it for 90 days so that we don't have to deal with this again next month?
Because it's the applicant who,
Okay.
the applicant is actually granting you the extension, and you're accepting the extension. You're not granting them an extension. They're granting you the exception. It's one of the things that we're taking a look at in our subdivision and land development ordinance, but we run up against the municipalities planning code. And we can try to change certain things, but we're always going to have these issues with the municipalities planning code.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't mind it because then at least it's fresh in my head that,
Right.
I mean, once a month's a little extreme. I think quarterly would be fine.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely impossible they'll be ready next month. That's
Yeah,
what's silly
exactly.
to me.
Right.
Right.
All right.
All right, is there a motion to, I guess, accept the extension
Yeah, thank you for allowing us to accept your extension.
to New Seaview 150 Zoller Drive?
Yes. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Township received a letter from Mr. Sullivan at T&M dated August 11th regarding escrow release number 1 for Marmar Builders. This escrow release is in the amount of $247,634.17. Board is asked to consider this escrow release for Marmar Builders.
Okay. This is something that's done, obviously, when the project is finished.
Well, this is Viking.
This is this is the Viking.
Yeah, this is a
Milestone.
Oh, that's right.
milestone
Okay.
release.
All right. Okay. All right, so they've accomplished, I saw they built we're building a couple of units out there, and they've cleared all the land. And
They've actually finished paving the street today.
yeah, okay.
So, yeah, they're starting construction.
All right.
Oh, that was fast.
Is there a motion to, is there a motion to grant to, or to pay out the escrow? Where is it here? Release number 1, $247,634.17.
So moved.
Seconded.
Mrs. Pullen?
Mr. Galloway?
Yes.
Mr. Boraski?
Yes.
Mr. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Dents?
Yes.
Mr. Rocco?
Yes.
Township received a letter from Jennifer Sable requesting release of remaining funds for the existing escrow account. Total amount remaining is $1,122. This work is complete to the satisfaction of T&M Associates. The board is asked to consider the release of $1,122 to Jennifer Sable, 1 Amesbury Road.
Okay, comments or questions?
Yeah, I have one. Mr. Sullivan, this is a swimming pool,
Yes.
in-ground swimming pool. It's a $2,000 escrow,
Yes,
and this is what's remaining.
that is correct.
So can you give me an idea of what goes into it from your office?
We review the topographic features, make sure that the pool isn't in a swale or won't get filled with water, stormwater, and to make sure that the area around the pool drains properly. That's what we review for.
Okay. Is it typically about $800, $900?
This one was pretty easy. Some of them get a little complicated, but this is probably pretty typical.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Actually, I had somebody make a comment to me the other day that was the deciding factor on them not to have a pool put in that $2,000 escrow.
Well, a lot of them think it's a fee
Yeah.
as well, an initial fee, so maybe we need to
I
do
had
it.
one too.
Bill?
Probably the same one you did.
It could be, do they realize they're getting the money back most of the money back? You know, assuming just a review of the plan, basically.
It could be just some of the money back. It could be very
She's getting
complicated.
some of the money back, half, right?
Yeah, a little over half, right. Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments or questions?
No.
Okay, is there a motion to release the remaining escrow funds, $1,122?
So
Yes.
moved. Second.
Mrs. Pullen?
Mr. Galloway?
Yes.
Mr. Boraski?
Yes.
Mr. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Dents?
Yes.
Mr. Rocco?
Yes.
Just a few announcements. There will be a hazardous waste collection event sponsored by Bucks County on August 22nd at the Bucks County Technical High School, 610 Worcester Road in Bristol Township. Just a note, electronics are not accepted at this event. Also, there will be a Veterans Expo and Open House hosted by the Falls Township American Legion Post 834. This will be held Saturday, August 29th, 2015, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is located at 300 Yardley Avenue in Falsington. There will be information stations, and refreshments will be provided. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. All right, comments or questions, or public, just going to try that again. Board comment. We'll start with Mr. Rocco.
I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Dents.
We received a thank you letter from Joe Brooks, the president of Liberty USO, for the, for our contributions over the years. And I'd also like to point out that Mrs. Jones talked about traffic. The latest Traffic Advisory Council quarterly report is on the website, which is very thorough and details what they've done over the last quarter. And that's all I have.
Okay, Mr. Boraski.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody again for their help with the AED project. Glad to see it's completed, just about completed. We'll get the boxes installed and have the AEDs on site. And the Fire Marshal, Rich DiPolito, along with the Parks and Rec and fellow supervisors. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Mr. Galloway.
I just hope everyone enjoys the last bits of their summer. That's it.
Okay. And I want to thank all the board members for their work and the professionals and the staff we have here. We're moving into the fall, and want to make sure that everybody is taking especially the heat, and the heat wave might break tomorrow, but keep an eye on neighbors, especially those who are elderly. Making sure that if they have air conditioners, that they're, that they're functioning properly. We have different seasons here in the cold weather times. We've had some pretty nasty winters. We're checking on each other, which is great, and we have to do that in the summertime too. Make sure that look out for your neighbors, making sure they're okay. If there's any kind of a problem, of course, contact 911 if you think there's somebody who is having some kind of heat difficulty, or if you're having some kind of heat difficulty. Keep in mind, when you're out cutting the grass and doing other yard work and those kinds of things, there's good times to do that, and there's bad times to do that. And 94 degrees, 2 o'clock in the afternoon is a bad time. Sorry. Mr. Dent says there's no good time to do yard work. All right, that's it. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.